Egyptology, the pyramids. What's really going on? I have with me famed Egyptologist, world renowned, according to his bio, Egyptologist Brad Clausen, here to work out with us the discrepancies, the problems, and his specialized knowledge and information that he says only he can bring to the table. Mr. Clausen.
Yeah, I'm not.
You're not Brad Clausen, famed
I'm not Brad.
Egyptologist. Just
No, I mean, if it
are you
helps,
sure?
I've got.
Because on my schedule I have Brad Clausen,
I mean,
famed
you can,
Egyptologist.
you can look at that if you like. I
This is
can do.
awkward. Okay.
Sorry. I
Mm,
mean, do you want to talk to me instead? I don't know if Brad's still available, or
nah, he's
we can
unreliable.
chat.
He's probably in Egypt. That's where he hangs out.
Right.
Yeah. Well, okay. So Jenny, is it? Well, you can't blame me. The resemblance is uncanny.
I know. Yeah, it must be the facial hair, probably.
Clausen. There you go, folks. Comedy. It makes sense to start this show with comedy. We got Jenny with here, but you'll notice that the title of this video is Intel Lady in Conversation. A great person on Twitter was nice enough several months ago, sent me to a link to a channel that I was completely unfamiliar with. I had no idea about, but I was delighted to receive. Here was a wonderful person putting all their care and effort into creating a great little piece of satire and commentary. Intel Lady. I immediately subscribed, and I immediately, shortly thereafter, told you guys about her channel. We are happy to have Jenny from Intel Lady with us. And I think we're going to have an interesting conversation. Like many of us, Jenny does not come to this community of spirituality, New Age practices, if we can use that word, ufology, as an outsider. Rather, like me and like many of you, she's a member of this community who saw and diagnosed and witnessed a real problem with several of the people that we have problems with. She's made videos about David Wilcock. She made gentle videos setting up Simon Parks, as well as numerous videos about some lady who's apparently a great turd, who I have no idea who that's supposed to be. I
Don't
don't
want
want.
to know.
What is it? Just like
You,
is it like a pastiche of several
it's,
people?
no, she exists. She
She
exists, but
exists.
she goes by a slightly different name. She goes by the name the Great British Bird. And because she talks an awful lot of doo-doo, I
Uh,
decided to name the character the Great British Turd.
Well, I back your
So,
play. It sounds reasonable to me, and again, it sounds like wonderful and beautiful satire, and it is. And quite frankly, I didn't even have to know who this lady was to get it, because you got them over on your side of the pond. Lord knows we have them on this side of the pond, ferried in to the New Age spiritual community via bizarre amounts of Trump worship and really huge amounts of fear porn and almost like evangelical zeal.
yeah.
It's hard to, it's like when you can't tell the difference between the people who believe in new spiritual practices and old school evangelical Christians, that there's something weird afoot.
It's become
Um,
blurred lines, hasn't it?
extremely blurred lines. In the description box below, ladies and gentlemen, you will see a link to the Intel Lady channel, the satire channel that Jenny runs. That you, if you're a fan of this channel and the work that we've done talking about Corey Good, aka Mendoza, David Wilcock, Simon Parks, Carrie Cassidy, etc., you're gonna dig right in and you're gonna have a wonderful time. If, like many of us, you also have interest in spiritual and faith and tarot cards or oracle cards, you can go ahead and check out Jenny's main channel, Lightworker Lady. Just kind of working, you kind of like got branding there. You know what I
Not
mean?
intentionally, really.
Unintentional. There you go. Listen,
Just worked out that way.
well, you looked at it's all you can say, like, oh, it's an accident, like Intel Lady. Anyway, that's nice, Intel Lady. Jenny, I've mumbled through my general introductory spiel. Would you like to talk to the audience, say hi, introduce yourself, and tell us anything that you want to about maybe just bringing up to speed with where you started, how you got to where you are, and what was the impetus behind starting the Intel Lady channel?
Wow. Oh gosh, what a story. My story crisscrosses quite a lot. So I guess I'll try and speed through it so I don't bore you all to death. I've always had an interest in spiritual stuff. I've since childhood had some very, very bizarre experiences, paranormal experiences, and it's just followed me throughout my life. And it's never really gone away. However, through my teenage years, I decided that I wanted to be a professional actor. So I pursued that, and I did have a career as a stage actor before I had my children. Um, Loved every second of it. Never really wanted to do TV or film or anything. For me, the stage was where it was at, and I absolutely loved it. And it, as I say, the spiritual stuff was always there. It never left me. It was still wherever I went and whatever I did, I always had weird paranormal experiences. And then my parents told me when I was in my early 20s of very, very strange things that I used to say and do as a child from the age of around 5 or 6. And I'm like, you could have told me this earlier. It might have explained some of my more angsty years when I was acting like a very strange person. But yeah, and my parents they're not into spiritual stuff at all. That's not their thing. Really not at all. But they found it quite fascinating, the things that I would say to them about deceased relatives that I had never met from generations and generations before, and all these kind of strange things. And my mum just used to say, "Oh, you are an old soul," and then move the conversation on. So yeah, so the spiritual stuff was always alongside me, no matter what I did. But my love was acting. That's what I wanted to do. And right up until I had my son, that's what I did. And then you become a parent and your life changes completely. And so that was it for me. Um, so I loved it from afar, but again, the spiritual stuff didn't leave me, and I would have more and more and more strange experiences that I couldn't explain. I did enjoy reading cards. I started reading cards in my early 20s. I used to read cards for other actors when I was touring and stuff like that. So that was like that was a huge love of mine as well. And I think it was when my shortly after my daughter was born, I I run a spiritual development group and a meditation group from home, and that's something I absolutely love doing. And someone said to me, why don't you set up a YouTube channel and do your card readings there? And I'm like, I don't know if I should. And they said, "Oh, go on." So I did, and that was in 2015. And it just started slow, really. And it was just me reading cards. And then I think when I came into it, I was so naive to how the sort of YouTube spiritual community works and everything else. And I didn't really know how to present myself uh, in a way that you would on YouTube. I didn't really know what I was talking about. And I thought, oh my God. And I thought, oh, you've got to be all love and light. And so that's how it was. It's very sort of flowery when I started. Oh, love and light, everybody, and all that kind of thing. And it just didn't feel like me. It wasn't authentically me at all. And then after a while, that just sort of started to fall away. And then I started making different videos talking about different subjects. And I look back now at who I was in 2015, 2016, to where I am now with the channel. And it's night and day. And I think I've upset quite a lot of people along the way. Probably like you have as well. I think I have Definitely
That's
upset
when you
people.
know you're being authentic, is when you
Yeah,
start ruffling some feathers, being not political.
exactly. Well, I mean, I think I've said a few things that have wound people up over the years. I called out David Wilcock last year. I called out Doreen Virtue back in the day, and that
Yeah.
upset a huge amount of people.
Now, were you ahead of the curve? Did you get her before the evangelical Christianity switch?
Oh, no, it was after
Oh,
her moment with Jesus, and then chastising everyone she's made a ton of money out of.
yeah, exactly. How you
So
doing? Meanwhile, thanks for the millions. You're all going
exactly,
to
yeah,
hell.
yeah.
Thanks to me.
Here's my beautiful
But
house
I'm
in
cool. You
Hawaii.
know what I mean?
Yeah, so I called her out. Oh, the backlash was so bad from that I had changed the settings on my video for it, because I was so sick of the abuse. It was so ridiculous. People were like sending me to hell, and damning me to hell, and
Ironically,
telling me to find Jesus. I'm like, I ain't lost him. I don't know if you have, but so there was all that going on, and then there was the Love and Light Brigade, who were like, you know what, just this isn't a spiritual way. This isn't what we do. This isn't what us spiritual
absolutely.
guys do. You should just feel her, her her transformation, and just feel it, and just breathe into it, and just love her for on. Shut up, no, I ain't doing that. She ripped people off. But it just got a bit much. I'm like, right, I'm changing the settings on that video. I don't think I need to deal with you crazy people anymore. And then I called out David Wilcock last Easter, around about the time he was claiming of all these sealed indictments about to be unsealed, and
The
you know
perennial sealed
the arrest.
indictments. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I'm
Talk
like,
about building the anticipation. Since spent longer than working this, things worked 2012.
I know. I hadn't liked David Wilcock for quite a long time, to be fair. He wasn't my favourite.
What's not to
And
like?
he's just, I can't bear that level of arrogance. It's just too much. At first I thought, I watched some of his conferences that he did, and I'm like, oh, this is interesting information. I've never heard of any of this before. This is quite interesting. So I listened it, but the more I heard him talk, um, the more I remember there was one interview he did on Jimmy Church. I did used to listen to Jimmy Church. I certainly don't anymore. But he was on Jimmy Church, and it was just the way he was talking. I'm like, you are so obnoxious. There is nothing likable about you at all. I think this is before he met his wife. But he was just bragging about how, women just line up for him at the conferences, and it was all, I could have banged all these women. I just got so sick of banging all these women. And it was just so obnoxious. I'm like, oh my God. So I hadn't been a huge fan of him for a while, but when it
Right.
came to this, this sealed indictments and all this, the massive, and
Mass arrest.
my insiders tell me, all this kind of stuff. I'm like, oh no, I've got to say something, because I can't be dealing with that. So I did a video. I didn't get much backlash, because I didn't get hardly any views of that video, which is probably why none of his flying monkeys came to tell me how wrong I was.
They didn't get their check to the bots were too busy giving him 112,000 views on his channel within the first hour.
Oh God, do not.
Yeah.
So I called him out. Not a big fan. And then this January, I finally called out creepy Simon Parks, because I couldn't stand it any longer. So I did a video on the 20th of January during Joe Biden's inauguration to make my point that this man that you are listening to is absolutely full of it, and you really
Right.
don't need to be. He's, oh God, where to start with him? He's just unbelievable. I cannot believe how many people fall for his nonsense.
Right. Right.
And I got so much backlash for that video, and it doesn't have that many views, but I lost a ton of subscribers. I'm like, wow, really? All those people who were subscribed to me like Simon Parks as well? Okay, that's interesting. So I had a huge loss of subs, and then all of them, you know, coming in and telling me, you are wrong, lady, because it was like it was all the American conservatives that were coming in that were his new fan base that were coming in to tell me that you're wrong, lady. I got you're wrong, lady. You're a fraud, lady.
like all those American conservatives were following your oracle greetings up until that point, right?
I know exactly. They've never heard. They just maybe I don't know. It must have got passed around.
They get the directive through connecting consciousness. Bother this channel.
Yeah, connecting consciousness.
Yeah,
conscious, aren't they? So yeah, so then that was quite interesting. But I just sort of doubled down on it. Really, I'm like, I'm not taking this video down. I'm not backtracking. But what I did say was, look, you know what? Because they were like, just you wait till March. Just you wait until till mental March. Sorry, it's mental, not just March. It's mental March is what they were calling it.
It's March Madness. It's the college bracket in the United States. Basketball.
So it was mental. I think Charlie Ward called it mental March, and then they all started calling it that. And of course, nothing happened. And I said to them, look, I'm absolutely certain that nothing is going to happen. But I tell you what I'll do. If it's proven in March that everything Simon Parkes is saying is absolutely spot on and correct, and Trump is inaugurated in mental March, then I will issue a full and frank apology, and I will also donate to a charity of Simon Parkes' choice. I have no problem admitting
Simon Parkes.
Exactly. No problem admitting when I'm wrong about something. And of course, March came and went. Then April, they were touting the QFS. QFS is going live. The QFS.
The quantum financial system.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I'm like, yeah, that's not going to happen either. And then we had May, and nothing happened in May. And then everyone was gearing up for the 4th of July. And apart from, a few burgers and hot dogs and fireworks, nothing happened. No JFK Jr. making a reappearance. And
Mount Rushmore, right?
Yeah, it's just none of these things. But they still hang on to it. Like they hang on to it so much. They've got to have it. They need it. And it's like a drug to them. It's their hopium. That's what they call it, hopium, isn't it?
Right. And it's got the making of a bad crooner tune. I waited for you in March, and you stood me up. Boo-doo, right? Here we are in June. Biden's a Jew. Doo-doo, doo-doo. Now I hear you. Sorry to interrupt with my ersatz comedy.
So yeah, how did I? Okay, so let's.
So wait, these videos that you've been talking about criticizing these guys, these were actually on your main channel, right?
Yeah. They're on my Lightworker Major channel. Yeah. I did one about the Buanon stuff as well. Called, I think it's called "Stop Trusting the Plan and Start Trusting Your Own."
Right.
And I realized that quite a lot of people who were watching my channel had been following all of these other crazies who were telling them all of these things. I mean, some of these people are like tarot readers and spiritual.
How does it mix?
I don't get
how do you get from the Palladians, Love and Light, tarot cards and oracle cards and crystal healing to Donald Trump is going to save the day?
Yeah, Donald Trump's the savior. He's the guy you've been looking for.
Jesus, except better. That's it.
But the funny thing is, with a lot of the hardcore Christians, if Jesus actually did come back and went, "Hey guys, Jesus here. I am the Jesus. I am the real Jesus. I can prove it. Here's some Jesus magic. Here, here I am." They go, "You're not Jesus. You're not Jesus. You're Satan."
Project Bluebeam.
It's you can't win. You cannot win. So what exactly are they waiting for?
You can't.
But what are they waiting for on both sides? That's the thing, it just annoys me that people have completely gone off their own path of whatever your belief system is. It doesn't matter whether you're spiritual, whether you're not. People have gone off their own path of progression in their lives and put it all on hold for this nonsense.
Right.
And that, to me, it's crazy. It's craziness.
You ever
So
notice this flavor? It's like we're not waiting for a savior race, and this race has an amazing message, and the message is we're not a savior race. We got to do everything for yourself, but we're here to help you and save you,
mm,
like a savior race.
mhm.
Mixed up, crazy stuff.
Yeah, it's all crazy. So I think because I'd made that video about parks, I then started seeing other videos, I guess in my newsfeed. I guess that's how the algorithm works. Says YouTuber since 2015.
Right.
No bugger all about it, really. So I started seeing lots of other people that were calling Simon Parkes out, and then and this other guy called Charlie Ward. I'm like, well, I don't know who this guy is.
Mhm.
But then when I clicked on Charlie Ward, I realized he was talking to all the same group of so-called spiritual people, and Simon Parkes and a whole load of other people I've never heard of, and also a bunch of really sort of hardcore Republican Christian people as well. It's like he was like mixing with everybody, and he
Right.
seemed to be like the ringmaster controlling it all as well. And I'm like, who the hell is this guy? And then I came across a YouTuber called Seeker of Truth, and he had done a video called 30 Reasons Why I Don't Trust Charlie Ward, which is a brilliant video, and everyone should watch it, because it pulled up all of Charlie Ward's lies and just debunked everything.
Right.
And it was really, and so I got talking to and he had started a show called Griftbusters with a few other YouTubers. I hadn't heard of any of these people, and I ended up sort of watching quite a lot of their stuff and talking to people in the chat. And then one day they'd done this comedy skit where this girl had played the cleaning lady in the QFS bank, which is a story that Charlie Ward had told everybody, that he
Nice.
rang the central bank and that the cleaning lady picked up the phone and and told him that the QFS was going live. Oh yes, all the machines are here. They're beautiful, and that any day now, any day now, and it's just, and people believed him. I'm like,
People
why?
believe it. It's credible.
Now, in my back in the day when I was young and acting, between any acting job, I used to take any job going, and the one job that I used to go back to all the time was an office cleaning job. And I just so it happened to be at the office that I just so happened to clean was a bank, like a call center. Now, if at any point I had picked up the phone and started talking to somebody about
Yeah.
anything, I would have been escorted out of the building and lost
Right.
my. So just the fact that these are how far removed from reality these people are, to even come up with a story like that is just insane to me, absolutely crazy. So
Well,
that
yeah.
enraged me. But I watched this girl do this skit, and she was so funny. I'm like, she just played out exactly word for word what Charlie Ward had said had happened between him and the cleaning lady of the central bank.
Right.
And
And
I
like
was
a
like,
cleaning lady has an understanding of quantum computers and
oh,
quantum
exactly.
financial computers at that.
Exactly. I'm like, that is absolute genius. That she is brilliant. And we never saw her again. She sort of disappeared into the night, and she never did anything else after that. No one even knows her name. And I thought, right, you know what? Time to use your acting ability. And and so I did a skit, because Charlie Ward was very upset that M had done a video about him, and he was very upset that the Griftbusters were calling out his nonsense. And so he suggested that they were all paid by MI5 and the CIA to disrupt the good work that Charlie and all of his
Yeah,
friends
absolutely.
are doing.
Absolutely. Anything to suppress the truth.
Exactly. So I did a skit about that, pretending to be someone pretending to be MI5. So I sat in my living room with rollers in my hair and a dressing gown on, and took a call from from Charlie Ward and gave him some bogus information about the boys on the Griftbusters panel, and then it sort of took off from there, and I started doing more and more ridiculous skits, and then more and more of these crazy people were coming out the woodwork, like the Great British Bird, who claims to be working for Donald Trump and working for Charlie Ward, clearing the dumbs, the
Oh
deep,
yeah, and you can
deep
clear
underground.
the dumps are so threatening, yet you can let a psychic can clear them out like this.
Yeah.
That's another one down. That's it. We close that one down.
There's loads all over the UK. I mean, who knew such a tiny island had so many
Like
thousands
Swiss cheese, yeah, absolutely.
of deep underground military bases? So she claims that she does this. This woman has come from absolutely nowhere and then makes all of these crazy claims. She's got an absolute potty mouth to boot, and she's just horrible. She's a horrible woman, and she decided she got it in for M as well, and she jumped into his Telegram one Sunday and started effing and jeffing at him and telling him that she was going to send 6'5" Marines round to his house to anally, what him, and this is on his Telegram.
Terrible thing to say, but what's he doing messing around on Telegram? What do you expect?
I know. I won't touch Telegram.
It's like I got syphilis down by the docks. What did you think you were going to the gift shop?
It's such a toxic hellhole. I wouldn't go anywhere near it. It's awful. But yeah, so this had happened, and I thought, right, you know what? That's worth a skit, really. I need to create a character, and so as she was going by the Great British Bird, I decided I'll be the Great British Turd and just talk absolute nonsense. So I did a couple of skits, and then I did a movie trailer which I called Dumb Raider, and it was just an absolute riot of complete and utter nonsense, and it was fun. And then I just kept doing more and more, and the more I watch of these, I can't bear to watch them for very long because they're just so insane to me, some of the things that they say. Thankfully, it only takes me about 10 minutes of watching somebody to get an idea of,
right.
I watch micro mannerisms with people, and I listen to where their voice comes from, and I can usually capture them quite quickly without having to listen to too much of their nonsense. So, which is a good thing.
Yeah, and it's not like it's going to take you more time to get their mannerisms than it's going to take you to figure out like the BS that they're spinning.
And I think, and also thankfully, because I discovered Simon Parkes long before I called him out. I discovered him back in 2017, when I went looking for answers because something very odd happened to me, which is probably a different interview for you and I to do in the future.
Right. It's a good thing you didn't find him, because you know what I mean? Apparently he's got a unique way of figuring out your star sign. Allegedly.
So, yeah, I'd gone in search of answers for something odd that had happened to me. And I've done a video about that on my channel as well eventually, not at the time, because I was still trying to work it out in my head, and why it had happened and all the rest of it. And someone had said to me, Simon, there's this guy called Simon Parkes, and he's talking about something very similar. He's had experiences very similar to yours. I'm like, okay. So I found him. He had a show on Wolf Spirit Radio.
JP? There you
go. And so I found it. He was doing a show like every other Sunday or something, and listened to him. And I think I jumped on to listen to him right at the point where he was having total drama with somebody, and then JP booted him off very quickly after that. So I didn't
something happened with. I'm sorry to interrupt. Something happened. I think happened with your mic.
Oh, what did I do? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. You're back. You're back to square. You're back to good. You're back to good. It went a little fuzzy.
I think I put my finger over it. Sorry, I'm holding my phone.
That's what she said.
So, I didn't get many answers that I was looking for with Simon Parkes, really, but I did dip into his show every now and again, and I got a real creepy vibe from him. I didn't feel like he was someone that I would trust to talk about my experiences with, so it didn't really go anywhere in the end. But I dipped in and out, and then I think stumbled across him again last year when he'd gone from uh,
Right.
like
Alien contactee to political insider.
to to I am a patriot. I'm an American
Yeah,
patriot.
like,
And I'm like, is this the same Simon Parks? But because I'd watched quite a bit of over the years, I didn't have to watch him too much to get his mannerisms to do a skit on him. That's where I was going with that story.
there you go.
So yeah, so he's quite easy to take on because yeah, he's again, it's this Britishness again that I've got to talk about, and I think I wonder if you talked about it with Kevin Moore, or no, Kevin Moore might have talked about it with them when he was talking about Simon Parks. The mistake a lot of Americans make is that they listen to a British accent and think that they're clever.
Absolutely. There was a beer commercial about that, about people, and it's like, forget about it. In New York City, like, hanging out in bars. If a guy showed up with a British accent, you were like, pack it up, gentlemen. We're done. We're done here. We're done here.
Yeah, and it's a mistake because somebody like Simon Parks will absolutely cash in on that. He will take that to the bank because again, I don't think he's as clever as he thinks he is, but he knows that if he speaks very nicely and quite sort of patronizing sort of way. Now, I've just been on the phone with the higher ups, the good guys, very good, very good. There's only so much I can say because I'm under a military NDA. So here's what I can tell you. So if you talk like that, a lot of people think, wow, this guy, oh my God, what does he know? What is this? He's got military contacts and stuff. And I think Charlie Ward was doing the same thing. But most of the British people were like, oh, come on.
It's not even an accent for you guys. It's just talking, right?
He's a Del boy. He's a chancer. He's not, they're not. No, he's a second-hand car salesman. Stop it. But again, it's that manipulation, that way of convincing you that they know what they're talking about, and they have all of this insider information. They don't have any.
Yeah.
And if you go back over, Simon Parks made a huge mistake of doing a Channel 4 documentary in
Oh God. Yeah.
I didn't know anything about this documentary and never saw it at the time.
Right.
And I only discovered it last year. Actually, not even last year. I think it was this year when around the time I was calling him out, somebody said, watch this. Did you see this documentary that he did for Channel 4? I'm like, no. You would think I would, but no, I'd never heard of it. And it was called Confessions of an Alien Abductee.
Right. And then they also had that, didn't they have that lady that could have fed an alien abductee into her beehive? Or am I conflating the docs?
That was hysterical. Oh my, what was going on with that hair? I've never seen anything like it. It was amazing.
Well, how about this? He did that Channel 4 documentary, which obviously most people looked at it and thought to themselves, like, here's a kind of a lesson in, like, the saddest clown, right? This kind of sad story of this guy who was doing the drawings of his mom and Anunnaki space god dad with markers, like he's in the psychiatrist's office, like, draw me a picture of your family. This is my dad. You know what I mean? Like, he's telling me he loves me, even though he had to leave, right? And all this stuff. And then he had those magazine articles where he's talking about having sex with the cat queen and all that jazz. But then post that is when people are like, there's a community of people who are like, solid gold. This guy's a number one. He's our insider contact to the Palladian High Council, Mantid, Hobbit people, crystal DNA folks.
And then to go beyond that to he has military contacts, and he's working with the military to roll out the med beds. and that's why he's going out to America.
Yeah.
It's just like what leaps he makes from one fantasy to another fantasy, and people can't see that that's what he'd go back over his history. I mean,
Right.
I'm glad that Kevin Moore has done the expose on him. He did that with Seeker of Truth, and he's just released part 2, and it is creepy. The things that have been unearthed, I'm not surprised. But you know, oh God, he is a very, very disturbed man, very, very disturbed, and I think he had a very unfortunate childhood by the
Yeah, no,
sound.
I always tell with these people, you know, if you listen to the malarkey, it's very easy if you have any like empathy or insight to kind of deconstruct. There's always like the personal history is always there on the inside.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so what do you do? I have a couple of notes that I took down as you were speaking about these various people, these various activities. Um so let me just what do you do? So the effort obviously with the Intel Lady channel is to demonstrate through satire how ridiculous these things are.
Yeah.
But how do you ever think about how are you going to convince a community of people with logic and reason if they're able to listen to a guy like Charlie Ward and come to the conclusion that this guy has the inside track on a quantum financial system? Or how about this, the fact that they don't discount, he was saying post the election of Joe Biden that the quantum computers, one of their first things was going to be tracking the ballots through the magic ink blot, the invisible ink blot that was on them.
Yeah.
And that obviously did. So how are these people able, like, how are you going to reach a community of people and communicate and educate a community of people who are not even willing to see that the people that they're paying attention to are disconfirming themselves, are obviously full of it, or that they've got the intelligence level that they can hear this stuff and be like, yes, you got my vote.
This is the thing. I mean, I'm not going to convince them with satire, am I? Any more than I would on my Lightworker Lady channel, because they all, went voted with their feet and went by. We believe him. You're crazy. He's not.
Right.
So but I have to say, if you keep plugging away at something, people do eventually start questioning. And I think they've started to notice the pattern particularly with Charlie Ward. He's constantly changing his story about things and backtracking on things and denying that he said things. And that's made people start to think, hang on a minute. And I have noticed in a lot of comments of other people's videos, people have gone, I can't believe I followed this clown. I can't believe I believed this guy. I can't believe I was in his insiders club and paying €11 a month to him. And I mean, recently he's just gone on holiday to, and I can't remember where he's gone on holiday to. But it's basically where you go on your honeymoon when you've got a hell of a lot of money. And it's like you have to get a seaplane out to this place. It's so tropical and amazing. It's so remote and amazing, but it costs a fortune. And we're saying to people, this is where your insiders club money is going, guys.
Right.
This is what it's paying for. It's not paying for truths to be unveiled and Trump to be put back in office. It isn't. It's paying for him to have a lovely old jolly with his missus, and and then brag about literally giving his followers his schedule. Oh, I'm going jet skiing at 4 o'clock, and then we're having a couples massage at 6 and doing this. It's like, what the
Well,
hell?
isn't that part of the promise of the quantum financial system? Did this for me. When the global currency reset happens, the quantum financial system is going to do this for you, right? Our Iraqi dinar is going to be through the roof, and we'll all be taking golden showers.
It's just so sad to see that people are like, and there's one American lady and she does a show with him, Is it Seychelles? Someone's just put Seychelles.
Now you want to know what's crazy? Now, I don't want to build up his idea. If it is the Seychelles Island, that's where there's a guy named Eric Prince who has the private military that is responsible for all these war crimes in Iraq. And then his sister ended up being appointed the head of education in the United States by Donald Trump. There's the allegations that Eric Prince met with Russian operatives in the Seychelles Islands or the Seychelles Islands to broker a deal for intel on Hillary Clinton. So it's crazy that Charlie Ward's going there so he can be like, oh, it's all happening at this island.
I'm gonna burst that bubble. It's the Maldives. I've just remembered. It's the Maldives.
Oh, damn it, the Maldives. Was that where the Maldives Falcon was? No, that's Maltese. Sorry. Well, you can always go to Malta.
Malta. I'd love to go to Malta. It's supposed to be beautiful.
Listen, you go there. I've got an Illuminati insider. He'll hook you up. Massages, Falcons, the whole nine.
I'm still waiting for my MI5 check because, according to Charlie Ward, we're all on the payroll for MI5 doing all of this stuff. You see, so I was hoping it would come soon because I'm about to get a new kitchen and it ain't going to pay for itself. So you got
to sign up for the direct deposit. You didn't sign up for the direct deposit. Talk to Jerry in HR. He'll get you all cleared up.
Yeah. So yeah, it's crazy, and I'm loving what I'm doing at the moment because I feel like, in a weird way, because I thought, have I gone off the spiritual journey train and jumped? And then I sort of realized this is part of my spiritual journey. This is part of my spiritual evolution. This is part of me developing and looking back to where I was with all the love and light guys in 2015 to just peeling off the layers of BS and being more authentic and calling people out when they should be, and trying to give the community a little bit of a shake and say, hang on, folks, you've kind of gone off on a weird tangent here with this Trump is your savior QAnon stuff. Can we all come back to finding our own way in our own authentic way without this side versus that side, because it's become that there's so much divisive garbage going on as well. And if you're not this, you're that. You're not that, you're this. There's no sort of middle ground for anything. There's no color anymore. It's one or the other, and it's so
bizarre.
Sick. It's so horrible.
And it's weird.
Yeah.
From the conspiracy theory people who were like, the president is picked by the Illuminati Council. Then all of a sudden, a rich billionaire shows up on the scene. And they're like, except this one. This one's an out. There's no conspiracy to this guy. This guy's completely authentic.
He's great.
He's great. You know what I mean? And and let's put up borders and keep brown people out. You know what I mean? And immigration is our biggest thing. It's like, talk about love and light. And even the people that believe in Jesus, it's like, you know what I mean? How does this wash with the central message of love thy neighbor? No, they meant people in your country, right? They didn't mean like love everybody. Come on, those guys are jerks. So it's funny. You were talking about your story and like starting off, in the beginning of being all love and light, and then the veneer comes off. And I just wanted to share with you the reason that it's so striking, because my story was very similar. If you go to my first video, I'm like, hi, I'm C.W. Chanter, and this is a space for not just me, but for you as well. Spirituality, faith, mysticism, the metaphysical. What's it all about? Let's go on this journey together. And what happened was, I did that, and my first video got like 6 views, 7 views. And I was like, there was other guys like these Shane the Ruiner, these Intel insiders, and these Project Camelot and Avalon people were getting all these views. Until I was like, fuck that shit. And I was like, what's up with you idiots? You know what I mean? And then it just went crazy. And then you do have that thing of like, where And there's also temptations. You start to get views on one thing, you start to activate that shadow self about being enraged about people's behavior, and then all
Mm,
of a sudden it's kind of hard to find your grounding. And it's like there's no map for these territories. It's like we can understand the role of spiritual practitioner, healer, reader, oracle, whatever, and we can understand cynic and debunker and rationalist, but to try and have your feet in both worlds is kind
yeah.
of weird. I was going to ask you, like, so I described YouTube as an alchemical process. You
Mm,
basically go in with all sorts of intentions, and then the whole thing, works on you. So this
yeah.
thing, subscribers coming, subscribers going, feedback from the comment section. How do you think that has affected your overall spiritual journey? Do you still feel like you're in transit or transition? Do you feel like you're stabilizing, or do you feel? I don't want to put words in your mouth.
I definitely have felt such a massive shift this year for me personally this year, and I know it's to do with you know, speaking um honestly from the heart about people like Simon Parks, and upsetting people along the way and deciding not to apologize for that. It sort of opened something up with me, and at first I mistook it for I'm falling out of love with the spiritual community. I'm not part of this anymore. And I started to question like everything I've ever talked about on my channel. And I cover everything, I think you were saying this the other day, you cover all these things like, the event, and Nibiru, and all the ascension, and all these things. And oh my God, I've shifted so much on my belief system of all of these things now. And it's
Right.
come so quickly. It's almost like having the rug pulled from under you. And it's not that I have become unspiritual, because I haven't. I actually think I've become, in a weird way, kind of more so, because I'm understanding the difference between the flowery BS and the raw, uh, this is your experience because you're here on planet Earth and you're a human and you're having this human experience. And this is what comes with it: lies, deceit, joy, pain, you know, uh, everything. And when you accept that, that's when you realize this is your spiritual experience. This is Stop looking for 5D, you know, ascension to 5D. It's coming soon, it's coming soon, it's 2021, we will all ascend. No, we
Right.
won't.
The
um
new age rapture,
yeah,
right?
crazy. Come on, look around you. People have stopped looking into their environment, looking around them, looking at what is going on in the world, when we've got tyrants ruling countries and making decisions for us, that are completely unhealthy for us, and people still starving, and children still being blown up, and us selling them weapons to do so, and all of these things. And we're going to ascend because we're
Right.
so good and we're so learned, and we've finally, the penny's finally dropped, and we're just so bloody spiritual that we're so ready for that 5D experience.
Right. We're getting, well, it's like the privileged few, right? The 144,000 true light workers are going to ascend to 5D, and won't us jerks feel so stupid in 3D with our CIA and MI5 money? Like that's going to keep us warm in the lighted hellscape that's going to be Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome as they turn into energy beings of pure light, right? I mean,
I,
it's identical to the Christian rapture, right? A certain percentage of really good people who are more service to others than service to self, you know. And what's even crazier is that you have these people supporting political regimes where they're claiming that they're so inspired to close down the dumbs and free the mole children and save the kids from the Illuminati sex trafficking. Meanwhile, they're supporting regimes that are absolutely responsible for 99% of like the infantile death in the world.
yeah,
It's bizarre.
it's
It's
so
bizarre.
bizarre. It does make you want to jump off that bus when you're around these people who are apparently spiritual, they're talking all of this stuff, and it just makes you go, I'm off the bus. I can't deal with this anymore. But then I thought to myself, no, I'm not going to do that actually. So I'd set up this channel and I was doing all of my stuff, and and people said to me, are you going to stop doing your Lightworker lady channel now? Is that? And I said, no, I don't think I'm going to stop, but I think I need to start telling people that are watching me where I'm at with my belief system and my journey, which is not the same as anyone else's journey, and we can't come on it together,
Right.
because that's not what it's about. But what I can do is tell you how I'm feeling and what I'm going through, and where I'm at with my journey. And some of you will completely connect with it and go, oh my god, I'm so there with you. And some of you will go, no, sorry, not feeling it. I'm totally ascending, and I've got 1 foot in 5D right now. I'm so there, I'm so there, I'm so there. And
Right.
fine. But I'm not going to sugar my words, and I'm not going to say, I'm not going to tiptoe around stuff. I'm just going to tell you how it is for me. And I'll keep doing, I do a monthly card reading video for my channel, and I'm not going to stop doing that. I talk about the energy coming up for the month, and I enjoy doing that. And I'll keep doing that. And then when I feel inspired to make videos about where I'm at with things, then I will. And if I feel inspired to tell people to stop listening to Charlie Ward and to knock it off about the QFS and Nasara Jasara and all of this garbage, then I will. And I'm not
Right.
going to be ruled by how people might react. Whereas a few years ago, I absolutely was, and I was, tiptoeing around certain things, and I can't be asked. Too lazy for that now. Just think, no, I just whatever. I'll just
Yeah.
say how it is.
Oh, and it's a powerful drug. Like once you start telling it like it is, you know what I mean? It's hard to go back to just, and and it's good. It's like I said at the beginning, like when you start ruffling some feathers is when you know you're being honest and real. When you're
Yeah.
not giving a pre-packaged, here's Oracle card reader lady number 6739589. Welcome, dear ones, to this space. Oh,
Oh,
Leo,
oh,
watch out. Two of
I,
Swords reversed in your 8th quadrant of the moon of Hecate. I worry about you. And remember, if you want to book a private session with me, you know what I mean? Link in the description box below to my Etsy page. You know what I mean? It's crazy. And then it's like, what's the point? You know what I mean?
yeah, and I just can't. I can't be that person. I know they get loads and loads of views. I know they do. That the Love and Light Brigade, they get a lot, and it's all, dear ones. They all have these very affected voices as well, don't they? Dear ones, I gather you today because we must all this kind of. I'm like, oh, stop! You do not talk to your mother like that when she rings you for a catch up. Stop it!
That's it.
I hate that. Just it's so phony. I hate the sort of phony veneer of it all. It isn't. It doesn't sit right with me, and so maybe that's why I just have never found myself roundtabling with other spiritual people on YouTube.
Oh,
I've never
forget your invite's done. You're screwed, lady. You're blackballed. There's no
that.
way. There's no way. You cashed out the minute they talk shit about Carrie Cassidy. Fuck you. You know what I mean?
Oh God, you
Oh
got.
my god, you're out of the running. You're
I'm.
out of
Oh dear. I was never a follower of Kerry Cassidy, so I did have to study her a bit before I created that character. She's just so pissed off with everyone she talks to.
it's like,
She's like,
what's the point of interviewing anybody when you already know that they're the best is when someone's like, so I had this profound spiritual experience where I was contacted by the reptilians and they told me not to be scared or not to be afraid and that everything was going to be okay and that if we just were at peace with ourselves there'd be peace all around. Well, that's nice, but my insiders really tell me that there's kind of a different situation going on, and I'm a laser, I had a kundalini empath experience, so I kind of have some authority and know what I'm talking about. So you're sharing your story with us and that's nice, but maybe you were just, fooled by the My Labs. That's okay. You know what I mean? But you're wrong. You know what I mean?
I'm better than you. I'm better than
I'm
you.
better than you.
You
Captain
know,
Mark Richards, who's been in prison for 45 years, knows he's a real insider. And so I have it on authority that Joe Biden is a android holographic clone machine monster in Hollywood studio, and he's not a real person. He's an android, but even then, he's committing sins and creating loosh by hurting kids. And I feel bad for you if you didn't study her for a while, because of course her main channel went Kaputski, was taken down by YouTube.
yeah.
Conspiracy, you know what I mean? They're out to stop the truth. They'll surely knock us down. But she had some classic videos. Do you ever see any of the ones where she was wearing the little sailor suit?
No,
Oh,
thankfully
she
not.
had this like imagine like Vanna White from like I don't know if you have like game shows like Wheel of Fortune, but like they're
Mhm.
showing the schooner or the yacht that you can win, and the little model's wearing her little like it's like she had like the wheel hat, not the sailor hat, but like the captain's hat, and it's got like the fringe and the lapels or whatever it's called. Classic stuff. No, you missed out. Oh, you weren't there when it was cool. I'm telling you. You mentioned the David Wilcock. I'm sorry, I took all these notes. I want to make sure I get. You mentioned the David Wilcock interview where he was talking with his ego. I mean, talk about an ego out of control. I remember this is the. I think we were talking about the same Jimmy Church interview where Jimmy Church said, "David, where do you see yourself after disclosure?" Well, I think I'll be, like basically a rock star. You know what I mean? I'll have security and I'll have to wear a bulletproof vest, but that's okay because, I'll be vindicated and I'll know I was telling the truth, you know? And how about this for Simon Parks? I love how we touched upon this earlier. He was a tri-soul crystalline DNA mantid hobbit human.
Mhm.
His mother was a mantid alien. His father was the space god Anu. But when Donald Trump kind of took over and the whole Q thing took over, all of a sudden, mom is the mortal mom and she's working for MI5 or MI6, who are taking secret intel documents to an old bird's house, like the estates, to have her like type them up. And then his grandfather is inside, and then all of a sudden it's like, how do you change that story? Like, how do you think that that's gonna work? And you got to know that he's like kind of like whispered like, hey guys, the old school, the old guard of connecting consciousness, ixnay on the alien a, remember, political insider. And
Yeah.
it's like the elected official, and he was like friggin' like dog catcher of like West Millshire or whatever the fuck it was, you know what I mean? It's like the craziest zaniest thing. So we got that. I just wanted to make sure we got that. And Charlie Ward and the quantum computers. Now, this is one of these things. There are people on YouTube actually talking about quantum computers, and quantum computers could never be used for a financial system at this point. They're like completely theoretical.
Mhm.
They don't even know, like they're working on trying to figure out what they could possibly do with them or how to program them. So this guy is just spinning all these yarns. Now,
Yeah.
here's the thing. Here's an interesting thing about Charlie Ward. He claims his life story starts with I think they're called the Plymouth Brethren.
Plymouth Brethren. Yeah.
And he
Mhm.
says, like, oh, I was part of the Plymouth Brethren and they made this arranged marriage or whatever. Now, people talk about conspiracy theories. The Plymouth Brethren, that's where Aleister Crowley came from,
And he looks a lot
you
like him.
know? And he looks exact. So I'm like looking at Charlie Ward's bio, like, I don't believe that you're Aleister Crowley reincarnated. But I know that this started off with you being Aleister Crowley reincarnated, right? It's somewhere along those lines. He was dipping his pen in those waters, you know? But then it's so crazy that these people can be like that, or like, Carrie Cassidy can cite as her source a guy that was involved in a murder, and they're saying that these people are responsible for Illuminati child kidnapping, but they're not looking at their own world and their own, group of people that they associate with, and saying there's something wrong here. It's
Yeah.
nuts. The whole
It's
thing
crazy.
is nuts.
But I swear these skits that I do write themselves. They write themselves, even down to the Simon Park stuff with all of the nonsense he talks. It's just so damn easy. Switch camera on. I don't write scripts for any of the skits that I do, apart from the Dumb Raider one, which was a bit complex. So I did, and the QFS advert I wrote script for because I wanted to get that spot on. But when I'm doing my my Lyman Sharks,
There
Lyman
you go.
Shark,
Don't get sued. Do not get sued.
very Sue happy.
I was
Um,
very Sue happy. Everybody, I got sued. Charlie. Corey Good sued me. Great, it's
yeah.
fantastic. That's how you know you're making it. Where
Oh,
you're like, my YouTube AdSense revenue is about $5. Great, because my attorney's fees are over $15,000.
well,
Awesome.
the
Life
better,
choices. Way to go.
yeah, it's just rotten. It really is rotten. He's rotten. Um, but yeah, they do write themselves so easily. Kerry Cassidy with her Captain Mark Richards and her disdain for any other journalist, especially Kevin. So I've got this running thing with Kerry Cassidy, where any opportunity to diss Kevin Moore, she'll diss Kevin Moore.
And that's my
And,
job.
and
I'm gonna take this opportunity to Kevin Moore. Let me tell you something. I'm breaking in because Kevin Moore is beautiful and I love him.
yeah.
Fuck Kevin Moore. He's gonna come correct. This is the saga of me and Kevin Moore. So he started working on this documentary about Captain Mark Richards, right? He started working on this documentary like 3-4 years ago. I sat with this motherfucker in a hotel. Everyone thought we were like, it was a gay liaison because over the course of 2 days, I went and visited him in a comfort inn on Route 4 in Paramus, New Jersey. I shit you not, sister. And I must have given like 6 hours, 7 hours of interview footage on Simon Parks, on Kerry Cassidy, on Mark Richards. And since then, he's working on the documentary. He's got, and this is an actress, like when people are working on the production side of things, or someone's working on their script and they constantly keep on making these revolutionary changes. And, will this shit ever come out? Like, I've decided that the focus is going to shift from the narrative of the daughter to being about the parents. And it's like, well, that's great, because for 15 years you've been telling us that you're working on this movie, and I'm going to be the leading lady, and my friends got to, book out time for them to be a volunteer grip or whatever the frig. So anyway, so cutting up to the current moment. So I'm constantly, Kevin's always telling me over the course of years, that's right, CW, and we're going to have you on. I'm going to have you on my channel. Absolutely. You're going to be interviewed. We're going to do the thing. We're going to tell people about you, your work. It'll be great. And he's been doing that for years. And we talk on the phone all the time. I have him on my friggin' cell phone. We talk all the time. And every time he's like, yes, CW. And then next, we'll look at the schedule. We'll get you in. And I'm like, whatever. And then part of me was thinking that his channel is like more Lightworker lady. It's more channeling all this stuff. So I'm like, it's cool because he doesn't want to get involved in the debunking or, my caustic, nasty energy. So then I see that he's got M Seeker of Truth on. And I was like, what the fuck? And check this out. He was like the M Seeker of Truth. So I'm sitting there like a jilted lover. And I'm like, oh, Kevin's interviewing someone. Great. M Seeker of Truth. Haven't heard about this guy. Let me check him out. And I'm like, oh, you know what? This guy's basically doing exactly what I've done. Funny, because I was giving Kevin Moore a fucking pass on interviewing me because yada 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 sis boom ba. He's not, doesn't want to screw up his love and light channeling message, whatever shtick, whatever he's got going on. But now he's got this guy on, and then I'm like beside myself. I'm like, this far from a relapse. I'm like inches from the sleeping pills and the bottle of wine, right? And then all of a sudden he tells M Seeker of Truth, yeah, I'm working on this documentary and I definitely want you involved. And I was like, I told my kids about it. I was like enraged. I was like calling strangers on the phone. Have you ever heard of Kevin Moore? Well, let me tell you about him. It was a real piece of work. Then check this out. We do an interview on my channel 3 weeks ago. That was like one of the first interviews I started doing again. I did this whole interview with him and I'm like, it's going out live on my channel. And he's like, yeah. He's like, I'll take the recorded portion on my end and I'll put it up on my channel to support you, because he's got like 10 times the number of subscribers I have. Has the video gone up yet? It's been 3 weeks, darling. Has the video gone up yet? No. But what has gone up is a second fucking interview with M. Seeker of Truth, who just happens to have 3 times the number of subscribers that I have. I'm not saying anything, but I'm saying something. What the this is turning into a rap beef. You know what I mean? Screw me once. I'm not saying Kevin Moore screwed me. I love Kevin Moore. I'm sure the documentary will come out very quickly. Having said that, he was on Cambion? Don't look at the live chat. I can't look at the live chat. I'll be incensed. My God. No offense. No, he's great. Kevin Moore's fantastic.
But so what have we?
If he doesn't upload, you tell him. Even though he's over here in the United States, you get a message to him. All you Brits know each other. I know you do. You get word. You tell M. Seeker of Truth to tell Kevin Moore that he better upload my video, or I'm gonna expose everybody. I'm exposing everybody. Lightworker lady, have you heard about this one? Oracle card reading. You know what I mean? Sure, she got on Dorian Virtue after it was already popular. You know what I mean? And I don't trust her. It's like she's an insider's insider, turnaround, double agent. Can't trust her. Pink Floyd suck. You know what I mean? That was the crossing. That was like that was the line, right? Say what you want about Intel Lady, but don't you dare say Pink Floyd sucks. No, I love Pink Floyd. They're great. They're fantastic. Fantastic.
I think what we've learned from this interview today is that you can't trust
Kevin Moore sucks.
That you can't trust British men. Look, I married an American because I can't trust British men. So
well, you did great. The American men are fabulous. They're fantastic. Then you're cool. You're golden.
It's all good.
Sure.
But I'm going to have to jump off. But
we've been here for an hour. Listen, the important thing is that I got to diss Kevin Moore.
You got to diss Kevin Moore, Kerry Cassidy style.
I'm going to join forces with her. She's going to be my next interview. Or I'll just have you dress up as her and you can be interviewed. Now, listen. So before you go, a couple of things that I want to say. It's hysterical because I want to tell people about the time zone thing quickly. So me and Jenny are trying to figure out this interview, and she sends me a text, a DM on Twitter, and she says, 3 p.m. your time is 9 p.m. my time. So I've got this window around there. So I say to her, okay, so Thursday the 29th, 3 p.m. my time, 9 p.m. your time. And she says, sure, that's awesome. That's great. And so then it's 3 p.m. 2:50 my time, and I send her the link. And nothing's happening. And then she gets back to me, it's 8 o'clock my time. And I'm like, well, you told me that your 3 p.m. my time was 9 o'clock your time. And we figured it out, and we rushed, and we got it together. Intel Lady, Lightworker Lady, both channels in the description box below. Take your time to go over there, go down there. Make sure to subscribe if you like what she's doing. The Intel Lady stuff is fantastic and hysterical. The Lightworker Lady stuff is there for the people that are into the more spiritual side of things. She's got to go, but not before I pull a card. The Fool. You know what I mean? New journeys, new beginnings, new understandings. We are happy to have you here and promote you over here on this channel. The Intel Lady channel is fantastic. I hope you see many new subscribers from us over there. And if you ever do interviews on your Lightworker Lady channel, think about maybe being cool and interviewing me, unlike that douchebag Kevin Moore. That motherfucker. I kid because I love.
I would love.
If you thought you lost subscribers when you started telling the truth about Simon Parks and Dr. Stephen Greer, wait till I shit the bed on your channel. Everyone's like, unsubscribe. She hangs out with that guy. Where'd she find that moron?
You are so. Please come on my Lightworker Lady channel. Please
have me on. I'll clear them all out. You'll just watch the subscribers just like dip. You'll look at your YouTube analytics and like right here seems to be the problem.
I'm not afraid of that. I ain't afraid of that. It's all good.
Listen, it's like the phoenix rising from the ashes. You know what I mean? You gotta go through the dark night of the soul. Call the video that. Challenge the audience. You thought you did shadow work? Check out this guy. The first question is about Kevin Moore. That
Oh
guy.
God.
Okay. Jenny, Intel lady, Lightworker lady, thank you so much for coming on to the CW Chanter channel. I hope it was worth your time. I hope you'll come back. We do some group hangouts and group chats and stuff. Hope you won't be a stranger. Hope we'll continue to see you in the live chat and interacting with people. And again, I hope the sun shines on you, and I hope the new kitchen goes in without a hitch.
Oh, so do I.
There you go.
Thank you
There we
so
go.
much.
There we go.
Pleasure. Thank
Absolutely.
you so much.
Thank you for being here. Have a wonderful day.
You too. Bye.
There you go, folks. Lightworker channel, Intel Lady channel, Lightworker Lady channel, Intel Lady channel, both worth a subscription, both worth checking out. And thank you to Jenny for coming by. Again, it's so fascinating because we talked about Kevin Moore, and I kid. Listen, I love Kevin Moore. I love Kevin Moore. I love Kevin Moore. Having said that, everything I friggin' said was absolutely true. Okay. But this is the journey, and you know me, and I'm honest with you, and you're honest with me. And I think that's a beautiful thing. I saw you guys yucking it up in the live chat, having meaningful conversation, also having some fun. I'm happy for all of you people that we all got to this experience together, and we're shutting it down, but not before I say, I love you, I love you, I love you. If nobody told you that they loved you today, somebody just did. That's somebody's CW Chanter. Make of that what you will, because you will. Okay? The journey continues. Listen, we've been doing, in the description box below, you'll see links to everybody. You'll also see links to my Patreon. We do one exclusive video over there once a week. For those who support me or are willing to support me on Patreon for as little as $1 a month. You also see a link to my PayPal if a one-time donation is more of your thing. I do have over $15,000 in attorney's fees thanks to a lawsuit filed by one Corey Good. So if you feel like supporting me, that's fantastic. If you can't support me financially or don't feel like supporting me financially, that's completely understandable as well. You can give a thumbs up to this video if you think it deserves a thumbs up. You could share it on social media, or you can leave a comment in the comment section below. All great ways to show your love and pay your respects, I guess. Also, we've had a great run of interviews. We had Kevin Moore, ironically. We had 3 weeks. 3 weeks, this motherfucker. No, I love Kevin Moore, but this is how we light fires. Through Kevin, we've had Kevin Moore. We had famed Egyptologist, world famous expert on Egypt and all things Egyptology, Brad Clausen, aka Alfie Solomons, and we just had Jenny, aka Intel Lady, Lightworker Lady as well. Are there other people you'd like to see interviewed? Are there other people that you would like me to talk to? Leave your comments in the comment section below, or send me an email to c.wchanter@gmail.com. In addition to that, I have my own religion called Commonwealth Chanting. It's an open source religion. Basically, you don't need to send me any money. I certainly don't need that. I read stuff from my master epic out of context just to get it out there in the bloodstream. Comment by C.W. Chanter himself. No methodology exists to universally ban any individual from all formally established centers for Commonwealth chanting. No methodology exists to exclude any individual from the private practice of Commonwealth chanting at all. Commonwealth chanting may be practiced by any individual who feels the need or desire to do so, especially if said individual possesses or lacks the ability to feel emotional and or physical pain. If you'd like a copy of the first typed iteration of Commonwealth Chanting, it's an 11-page document that I will send to you free of charge if you send me a request for said document in an email to c.w.chanter@gmail.com. You can also see several videos about Commonwealth Chanting on my channel. That's it. That's the sales pitch. I did the closing thing before the sales pitch. Should have done it afterwards. I love you, I love you, I love you. If nobody told they love you today, somebody just did. Let somebody C.W. Chanter, make of that what you will, because you will. Boom. Biggity bam. I love you. Talk to you soon.